So you think you're so cool with your 30-year history and recently expanding on your game mechanics with the double gear system. Well, how about I dash straight through your face and absorb your essence? How about that? All childishness aside, this is Mighty Number 9, a 2D action platformer heavily inspired by Mega Man, as though everyone who knows about it didn't already know that. It was released midway through 2016 after a whole lot of drama, and it had effectively worn away all of the goodwill of its intended fan base, so it wasn't received very well critically or by consumers, and it was a huge financial disaster. My interest in the game was primarily through its art style, because every time I took a look at the game I was like, wow, I really like these character designs, and I was very familiar with the developer of the game, NT Creates. So I had a passive interest in the game, and that didn't really change based on the negative reception because I'm not a bandwagoning piece of shit. Eventually I started to see similarities between Mighty Number 9 and other video games I really enjoyed, so even though I wasn't the biggest fan of 2D platformers, I really wanted to play it someday. And with my more recent appreciation of 2D platformers, I figured now is a better time than ever. And I'm a little mad. I was expecting the game to be okay to good. I was not expecting it to thoroughly kick ass and be exactly what everyone promised it would be, which is an evolution of Japanese retro side-scrolling shooters. It's a meaningful expansion on not only its entire genre, but the core idea behind Mega Man, that being absorbing enemies' powers and using them for your own gain. And it's a faster game than any Mega Man game I've seen. It's also much milder in difficulty than other Mega Man games, to the point I'm a little concerned that so many people seem to find the game difficult. But we're going to take a long look at the game from start to finish, and hopefully I can show you why it kicks so much ass and why everyone else was wrong about it. Might as well get started at the beginning.
It is the present year. Breakthroughs in robotic technology have ushered in a new era of peace and prosperity. Violence is confined to the Battle Coliseum, where robot combatants face off in spectacular duels. Today, the Coliseum walls once again echo with the shouts and cheers of excited fans, when, suddenly,
System ready? Go!
Professor! Back! And functioning normally, it would appear. What on earth has happened? It's chaos everywhere! Well, we won't figure it out here. We must make for the laboratory, and quickly! Beck, you forge ahead and clear a secure path. I'll follow and monitor your progress. Yes, sir!
Once again, the president has declared a countrywide state of emergency. This based on reports of haywire robots rampaging out of control in all 52 states. I'm being told we have a comment from Gregory Graham, CEO of Cherry Dynamics. Cherry Dyne, of course, being the world's leading robot manufacturer. Let's go there now, live.
Attention! Attention! Is this thing on? My fellow Americans, in this time of crisis, we at Cherry Dyne would just like to express that this isn't our fault. It's that Dr. Blackwell. He's the one behind this. Blame him! We at Cherry Dyne are doing all we can to help fix the situation. It's Blackwell. Hello, is this the Bring on!
Avi?
And now let's go live to our Eye in the Sky Avi for today's Avi News Traffic Report. Thanks, Avi. As you can see, we've got a few accidents eastbound on, well, everywhere!
Mighty number 6? What does he think he's doing? Unless... could he be malfunctioning too? Uh-oh. A security bot. And it's out of control, like all the others. Beck, there's no other way. You'll need to fight your way through. You can handle this. I know you can. Professor, I'll do it.
Here we go, the core of the gameplay. By shooting an enemy so many times, you can destabilize it, which is indicated by it glowing and it looking, well, destabilized. You can then dash through the enemy to absorb it, which gives you a lot of points. But even assuming you don't care about points, it makes the game go a whole lot faster, which is probably something you want. More importantly and more practically, absorbing certain kinds of enemies gives you certain abilities. For example, if you absorb an enemy that's glowing red, then you gain the Powered Up Shot, which allows you to shoot through enemies into other enemies, like this, allowing you to absorb many of them at once. Pretty cool. So red enemies give you a Powered Up Shot that allows your shot to pass through enemies. That's what we've learned so far. You can use your dash infinitely, though you decrease in height a little bit each time. The infinite dash lets you skip over large areas, which gets you extra points. Occasionally, the game will stop to give you these arena-style segments, where the enemies spawn in a certain pattern, and the idea is to take them all out, of course, without getting hit. But these are also the best opportunity to use the absorption mechanic to its fullest. Sort of feels like a rhythm game during these sections. Absorbing that yellow enemy gave us another power-up, but we'll talk about that later. Absorbing that red enemy gave us the powered-up shot again, which will allow us to shoot through these guys and absorb a lot of them at once for maximum points, which is satisfying, I want to stress. Absorbing a significant number of enemies also gives us an E-Tank, or this game's equivalent of an E-Tank since this is not Mega Man. You can see the E-Tank right below our health bar, which we can use by tapping down on the touchpad if you're playing on the PS4. We just absorbed another type of enemy, this green guy, which gives us a different power-up, which we will discuss later. Don't worry, we'll discuss what all the colors mean. But what you need to know is that when you destroy enemies and absorb them, you get something from it. You get a tangible reward for doing this. It's not just if you want score, you get a tangible boost to the gameplay and your character from doing this. I've heard people say you only really need to bother with the dashing and absorption mechanic if you care about speedrunning or scores, which is just stupid because the game is way harder if you don't use the absorption mechanic. Way harder than it needs to be. So use the absorption mechanic, please.
A demolition unit? How on earth did it manage to get down there? Beck, quickly! You must stop it before it destroys the entire laboratory!
So the round digger has 3 attacks. It can charge at us, which we simply jump over by holding down the jump button and dashing over it. It has an attack where it shoots out these miniature robots, which can quickly be destroyed by jumping and shooting at them. And it has a third attack where it can make rubble fall down from the ceiling in a very certain pattern, which is easily dodged with your dash mechanic. At certain points, the enemy will become destabilized and we need to dash into it to stop it from recovering health. It looks destabilized like everything else. So your previous knowledge about destabilization still applies here.
Mission clear!
Sonda, are you alright?
Well, Beck, thank goodness. But where are the other mighty numbers?
Well, based on empirical evidence, I believe they might be suffering from this robot affliction that's going around.
Crikey! It's like every bot in America went completely nuts all at once. Let me contact my brother at the head office in Tokyo. Maybe he can send help.
I'm sorry, Soichiro. Please understand. The Japanese government won't let us intervene until we know the cause of the malfunctions.
I was afraid of that. But it makes sense. After all, any robots you send to help could be affected as well, making things even worse.
Just to confirm, Mr. Sanda, if we can isolate the cause of the robot rampage, you'll send aid?
Absolutely, Professor White. Anything we can do. Did you have a plan in mind?
Yes. We'll send Beck to track down all his fellow mighty numbers. Great idea! Wait, what? His assimilation ability should filter any irregularities from his siblings' programming. If we can gather and study multiple samples, perhaps we can isolate the cause of the problem.
It's a long shot, but it's our only hope. The fate of the entire country hangs in the balance. I'll finish reactivating Cole so she can provide support. Let's get to it!
Professor, Not to worry, Beck. This is well within your capabilities.